They're currently, all the players are currently warming up, as you can see on the, I'm going to say that's the left side of the screen.
Ooh, is it? Yeah, maybe it is.
Because you know what I've been doing wrong? I've been calling that the right side of the screen. No, it probably is, right? Because you look at it like this. We have a monitor in front of us.
Yes.
So yeah, top right corner would be that corner.
Exactly, and you can see the 4 players. Intense looks all around. Yeah. They are not fooling around as much as we are. They know what's at stake here. The most prestigious, the most stacked world championship we've had in the recent history of Trackmania. We're going to get in just a second. The picks and bans is maybe something to talk about because we have them coming through here.
We do. Let's start off with the bans. Massa has decided circles will not be played today. Reversing banned out by Scrapie. Arctic Split banned out by Kappa. And Halfpipe removed by Pack.
Yeah, no big surprises there. Arctic Split and Halfpipe. We mentioned these 2 maps are sort of the ugly ducklings of the map pack. Nobody really wants to play those maps because of the difficulty. But circles banning is interesting for Massa.
Massa always talks about the fact that he doesn't like circles too much. He thinks too much of it comes down to the identity and everyone can be relatively close and then it's all about that final jump. So Massa just deciding, didn't want to see that. And obviously, usually we'd see either Paradise or Slalom removed instead of it. Massa very comfortable on both of those maps. So not too surprising he decided to get rid of circles instead of Paradise or Slalom.
And I believe the reversing ban from Scrapie is also directly targeted at Pack.
Yep.
I mean, it's a map where Pack has just been absolutely dominant. Kappa has incredibly fast times there. And I mean, I'm sure Massa could set up some good times there too. So Scrapie just taking that one out. But now let's talk about the picks. What are we actually going to play?
We're going to start off with the Zigzag picked by Massa, then Slalom picked by Scrapie, Turbo Stairs by Kappa, Paradise by Pack, and we'll round out with Bicycle and Semiramis for the first time in the day.
Can I just say, I really like that we get to see the new maps.
Yeah.
We don't really see any players banning the new maps. We had Pack banning the new maps in the last weekend because he hadn't really had time to practice them. Yeah. But now we see them getting through and even getting picked. So it's really cool that, you know, these new maps are being played. The first track is coming up right now in the match. We are just about to get underway with Zigzag in the second semifinal of the World Cup. We saw this track played in the first match. It has all the styles featured: ice, drifts, full speed, you name it, and also a very tough identity section with 3 jumps across grass where you have to manage your speed, and then the ending jump where we saw players like Carl Jr., like Papu failing. It's very hard to get enough speed there to go across that gap.
It can be so difficult. You want 250 speed as you come down the hill and bonk basically on the bottom as you work your way up towards the left. So we'll see if these guys can maintain this. Haven't noticed too many different lines on the Zigzag today. Kappa, though, last week did go for the inside line when we go over the jump, so we'll see if he decides to continue to do that today.
Yeah, and we actually have a brand new personal best set just a few hours before this match by Pack. He set a 1:17.26, which is just 1/10 behind the world record on this track set by Massa, a 1:17.15. So Massa, one of the fastest players here. Can he do it in the live match? You can already tell he's going for risky lines. He set himself up very wide on the ice there to push for more speed, but can he manage this turn now with all that speed? Beautiful line by Massa. A 30.73 checkpoint is about 0.3 faster than what we saw in other matches. So Massa off to a great start there, pushing that turn as well into the ice. Important to keep a lot of speed before this loop. And Massa is on to a great run here on the first round of Zigzag.
Yeah, Massa really on a tear to start us off here. Obviously very much in the zone. Everyone, though, within 2/10 of each other. You can see Pack and Scrapie trying to chase Massa down through the dirt. We'll work our way towards the first jump on the Zigzags. Massa will keep the lead for the moment, but Scrapie is trying to catch him. Pack going a little bit further behind, but he's going to have more speed coming up through this next jump. However, he's now been overtaken by Kappa, who is on a charge, on a stormer as we get towards these final couple of corners, and all 3 of the first 3 players are on top of each other. Massa going tight, trying to get the line here. 250 speed is what you need, and Massa's so slow. Kappa on the line, just about takes it, but no! Scrapie will claim first, 6 thousandths ahead of Kappa. Pack comes home in third, 300ths behind. And Massa, I think, messed up his end there because he was a whole 10th back at the end.
A whole 10th. All players under 118 in the first round. This semifinal is going to be amazing. What a first round there by all the players. And Kappa could barely believe it. He lost the 10-pointer on the line there to Scrapie and now has to look for it again in the second round. Pack off to an early lead here. Watch for the different lines on the dirt here. They can either go out wide and use this banking or go close. Kappa's still sticking to that choice that we saw in the group stage, but he has adapted his line for the mid part. Now we're going into the downhill drift again. Very difficult to keep your speed here if you go for the most optimal line. And we are seeing 30.6. They are going faster than in the previous round. Really pushing now because they know they have to. They know 117.9 is not good enough. I have to go all out here and really get close to my maximum pace, my maximum capacity. They're all doing that here, but it looks like it's failing for some of them. Massa clipping a bit on the inside. Kappa is out of the field. And we have a three-way battle as we're now coming towards the identity.
And remember, last week, Pack really struggled on these new maps, maybe trying to get rid of this one, get this one out of the way early doors here, because he only got third place in round one. However, here he has gained speed once again. He is in the lead, tied with Scrapie and Massa. The question is, can he get there? Can they get around this final corner? Last time Massa was a little bit slower. Pack, though, is going to be able to get over the finish line first. Massa just sneaks over. Look at the speed from that as well. A 117.49. That is insanely fast.
It's the fastest match time we've ever seen on this track. Like 1 week ago, this was close to the world record on the track, but the players have adapted tiny changes over the week, seeing what lines people were using in the group stage and perfecting their possibilities to really go 117.4 in a match is unheard of though. Pack looking extremely solid with a run like that, looking to try to challenge Carl Jr. later tonight, but he needs to beat out these players first. Look how close Massa went to the wall. Look how close Scrapie's going. This is a joy to watch because they're really pushing it all they can. Pack dropping down a little bit there before the freewheeling section in the middle here. It is 2 players leading and 2 players a little bit behind, but the pace is equally fast up front. 30.6 once again as we go towards the bobsleigh turn. You want to build speed. Scrapie clipping on the inside, and you can see his shocked reaction there. Doesn't believe what happened, but he will be out of this race for now. Massa and Pack still on the fight though for that first place. Massa holds it right now. But how is his consistency going to go in the ending when we go to the end of the identity?
Massa has held first place every time coming into the final corner. And every time that final corner, he loses too much speed and he is overtaken either in the drift or in the final jump. Once again here, we will see him with almost a 10th lead, 2 tenths in fact, over Pack, over Kappa. Can he keep this going into the drift? Loses a bit of speed once again, and as we come towards the line, Massa will just about hold it, but you saw him ricocheting off the finish line.
Yeah, Massa does that last jump so close to the limit. We've seen rounds, like even highlights from last week, where he could barely get the finish jump. He only has about 1 kilometer an hour more than what is minimum to make that final jump, but it's enough to get the 10-pointer now, and the match is so close after 3 rounds. All players within just 4 points of one another, trading 10-pointers here back and forth, and who is going to get the best round in the last round here onto Zigzag. A very important 10-pointer to get here. All 4 players off to a great start this time.
Yeah, final round of the map, as you say, as a Zigzag will be concluded, at least for now. We might come back to it later on, and with how close everything is, the expectation is actually we will see this map again later on in this semi-final. All 4 of the players within a 10th of each other as we get up towards the bobsleigh here. This drift can be a little bit tricky, maintaining as much speed as you can in towards the looping section. Everyone's still within 500ths of each other as we get towards this next dirt section. Scrapie just going to take a closer line there. Kappa clipping a little bit, and now really the race is between Massa, Scrapie and Pack to see who can claim first place. So far, all 3 of them have a first to their name. Who will claim their second here from the Zigzag? Pack with a very speedy line here through the identity. Massa, though, trying to catch him, as is Scrapie, just about 500ths behind, a closer line, an inside line there, but Pack in a very good position for the final drift here. Massa loses so much speed right at the end here, and once again, it's going to pay off for Pack just to maintain just that little bit more speed on the final jump.
And it's so crazy when you think about it. A 117.67 by Scrapie is only worth 4 points.
That's crazy.
That's a winning time in almost any other match, but he's going up against the world elite here. And those hundredths are the difference makers. That's what they're pushing for in every corner. And what an insane start it was to this match. We have plenty more action coming. We're going on to Slalom as the next map here. This one being one of the most crazy with the lineup that we have now. World record is by Kappa, but Pack here on this map in the regular season won it not only once, not only twice, but 3 times in a 6-lap format against the 16 best players in the world. This is a map that he knows really, really well. and one of the most consistent players on this map.
And the real bit where you have to be consistent is what we're seeing on your screen right now. That final ice turn, you need to maintain the grip, you need to maintain your line, because if you overturn, it's so easy to lose the grip there, Virtual.
It is, but look at the warm-up here. Do you notice a pattern? We've talked about this before. But the Scrapie start on Slalom is something we see time and time again. This tiny lead that he builds up every time is something that he's going to try to use to his advantage.
Yeah, and getting an extra 2/10 early on, as we've seen in this first semi-final, is just so important. It means you have a little bit more freedom. You can make a mistake on one of the slaloms. You can make a mistake on the final turn and still keep a lead.
Yeah, so what Scrapie does so well here is he sets up far to the left before the dirt, so that he can take a smoother line through the second part, and the less you steer on dirt, the more speed you accelerate, the faster you go. And already in the start here, Scrapie and Pack are about a 10th ahead. That's a 10th gain for free by doing a slightly better line. And now we're going into the grass, we're going into a sharp left drift before we get to the first slalom section.
Yeah, first we'll work our way through this dirt, and as we get round towards the right hand here, the first slalom of the aptly named slalom comes up. Everyone threw it relatively clean in there. Pack does have a lead now over the reactor boost. You will see you don't want to steer too much up here. The more you steer, the more ground you're covering, the slower you're going overall. And Pack, Scrapie, and Kappa are through it relatively cleanly. Pack, though, still with a strong lead. 4/10 on towards the final turn here. Pack will hold it together. Scrapie will not. That's the danger of the final corner here. Massa's going to come home in second as well, overtaking Kappa at the final corner. Pack with a great time in 104.5, but the follow-up from Massa in second place, Kappa in third, and Scrapie in fourth.
Yeah, Pack, they're starting things off with a 104.5. I want to remind you the world record here, a 104.23 by Kappa, set about 2 weeks ago before this tournament began. But we have a new personal best here that were set just today. Scrapie getting a 104.31 just 20 hours ago, and Pack a few days ago, a 104.39.
Yeah, Pack within 2/10 of his personal best here and within 3/10 of the world record. It just shows the blistering pace that everyone is performing at here, and kind of what we expected as well. Pack is out to a bit of a lead, 9 points ahead of second place overall in the live ranking, but still anyone's game. We've seen how much these early races can affect the scorelines, but also how easy it is to come back. Once again, we're going to work our way in towards the first slalom of the course. Scrapie out to that lead. Let's see if everyone gets through it cleanly. I think that was Pack that dropped off the back there. He just clipped that final bit of the slalom, and now over the reactor boost, working our way up. Don't want to jump too much at the end here. You've got to maintain the grip as you get over towards this grass turn, and the wider line can give you a good lineup for the next ice slide. Into the final turn of the map, Scrapie has about a 10th advantage. Last time he slid out, this time he holds it, but Massa with a superb line there is going to catch up. However, Scrapie going a little bit higher, has more speed, will claim first here in a new best lap. That is a 104.54 Virtual.
Yeah, insane stuff by Scrapie, but he knows that's what needed to get that 10-pointer now. You have to go even faster than what they did last round. Scrapie with his first 10-pointer there in the match, getting now a bit closer to Pack, who has the lead. 2 more rounds on Slalom. We are in for more and more fireworks here, I think, in the later rounds. Now that the players are a bit more comfortable, they've shaken loose a little bit. Pack with a mistake, and also a Massa mistake there. Looks like he will fall out of this round. Have to sit and watch and see what the others will do, as we're now in past the start into the middle field of the track. Pack is in the lead by about a 10th of a second ahead of Kappa in third. Scrapie is in between the two, as it's a bit of a silent before the storm situation. Yeah. We're all just sitting here waiting for the identity.
It always is. You're just waiting for the slalom section.
Yeah.
So usually the dirt slalom people are pretty good at getting through safely. This second part can be a bit more tricky though, and all 3 of them will make it through for now. Scrapie did lose a little bit of pace, but look at that line through the grass. That was aggressive. Hasn't paid off for him as he's fallen about a 10th to 2/10 down here over Kappa and Pack. Oh, that was high. I thought he slid out there for a second. Kappa actually might have more speed here on the line. Kappa's going to be able to overtake Pack, but Pack, oh, just in the final ice jump, will make it. 300ths ahead of Kappa. Scrapie comes in third and Massa fourth.
Yeah, it's very interesting there on that ice downhill. It's actually faster to have digital inputs than analog inputs. Essentially what it means is you want to switch to something that can be on or off.
Yeah.
Keyboard works like that, and Kappa was catching up a little bit to Pack, but I think Pack also used his D-pad on his controller to steer instead of turning with the analog stick to get a little bit more extra speed. And that was the difference maker to get that 10-pointer.
It's a big thing on flat ice or ice that isn't a bobsleigh. You really want to be able to go all steer or no steer. You don't want to have these like partial steers, and as you say, helps a lot to have that digital input. If you can, put your D-pad on as a controller game. It will help you a lot when a nice cup of the day comes around, and right there it helped Pack get himself another win. 51 points in total now, 11 ahead of Scrapie, a whole victory ahead of anyone else in that chasing pack, starting to build quite a sizable advantage. Now all four of them I think are through the first two slaloms here pretty safely. Massa going very close there, just about weaving his way through the final bit. Scrapie here with a higher line as Massa goes very tight, and actually he's caught up a lot of ground here. Won't have as much speed, but into the ice slide, that can be beneficial. Massa a little bit higher. Scrapie clipping out to the side there. Kappa's going to try and chase down Pack, but Pack should be able to bring this one home. Pack first, Kappa second, Massa in third, and Scrapie in fourth.
Yeah, Pack, and we said it going into this. This is sort of his map. He won it 3 times in the regular season. I think he won it 3 times now on the rotation that we had. So Pack showing up, delivering the goods, 20 points ahead of anyone else in the match after the second map.
Yeah, he's in a really strong position now. I did wonder after map 1, where it was like 5 points between everyone, whether Pack would be able to find this commanding lead, and he just quadrupled his lead across the course of Slalom there. Obviously, a very good map for him.
But the question really is now, can Pack keep it up here? This was a map that he was banning last week because he hadn't practiced enough on it, and he said that. He has a new personal best here set a few days ago of a 1:07.95. Actually set just 1 hour ago, a new personal best by Pack. So he has certainly practiced this one. But how is the consistency? That's what we talked about. It's not so much about your time on paper, but what you deliver in the match when it matters, in the 4 rounds you get.
Definitely, and that's why, although we talk about world records and we talk about PBs, it is much more how close can you get to that on the regular runs? How close can you be on the regu, as people say in Trackmania. We'll jump on into our first lap here of Turbo Stayers. 4 of them to follow, and Pack sitting pretty at 61 points, almost halfway towards that finalist goal.
Yeah, there's a lot of lines that make up your run on this track that you want to watch out for. So let's go through it here on the first race. Very important on the dirt section to use the space is a good way to phrase it. Go high up on the dirt here to push for speed in the downhill. This is something the players do to try to maximize their speed going into the second dirt section. Here there are a few different lines. We'll see what the players opt for. You can either slide or go for a no slide. Looks like everyone is sliding through here. And now it's very important to not gear up. The players intentionally drive here and try to stay in the lower gear up the hill so that you have a higher RPM, you accelerate more. Massa hitting the wall though is out of the race for first place, but apart from that, Medic, it is dead even here.
Yeah, neck and neck between all of these guys, only 1700ths separate them all right now, and you can see Kappa is just trying to catch up with Scrapie and Pack. No Neo slides as far as I could see through that first corner, maybe a little one, but Pack able to get over the drift there as Scrapie's trying to catch him up. Kappa with a much better line. Massa actually overtaking Scrapie there right at the end as well. Massa will come home in third. Kappa first, Pack second, and Scrapie fourth.
Yeah, full collapse on the end there from Scrapie. He had one final hurdle to go, and he dropped down all the way to fourth place, which now just puts him at tied last place in the match. Kappa with a great 10-pointer there to put him a bit back because he is the defending world champion, and he is on the tail here. He's not looked as dominant as Pack has had so far in the match.
Yeah, Kappa, he's managed to catch up a little bit here. You can see Scrapie and Massa sitting at 46, Kappa at 48. The question is, can Kappa find that consistency? Because Afi in round 1 was so good at keeping up with Carl Jr., and because of that, he had 3 or 4 bites at the cherry, 3 or 4 bites at that position in the finals. See if perhaps Kappa can start to make a bit of a surge here.
But we're seeing a little bit of this inconsistency we talked about from Massa. He had that early crash on Slalom, kind of unforced. We see a couple of unforced errors as well in this track here in the first 2 rounds. A map that Massa usually is one of the best players on, the 6th best player on the leaderboard. So a bit unfortunate for Massa here. We hope he can find back that consistent pace. But apart from that now, super close into the identity. Pack with about a car length lead, 600ths of a second. But let's see the slides here. Will they go for this tight inside line that Gwen discovered last week? Scrapie dropping down into 4th position. Massa trying in 3rd, but not getting any closer. Kappa going wide. And Pack will take another 10 points. But it is Massa to take the 6 behind him, as Kappa failed into 3rd and Scrapie full collapse into 4th.
Look at that time from Puck. A 107.92. That's 2/10 away from the world record. That is absolutely absurd. Such speed coming here.
Yeah, you know, in group stage last week, Gwen set a new world record. That was a 107.93, I think, back then. So the fastest time we've ever seen in the live round here, set by Pack. The doubters have been answered, I think. If you thought this man wasn't ready for turbo stairs, you're wrong. This was incredible.
He's been putting his practice in, obviously, and now we will go back onto turbo stairs once again. Third time of this second semi-final. Massa has struggled to really have an impact here. He's been crashing out early on and actually making up a lot of time on the identity. So if he can keep it clean through these first corners, keep it clean before we get to that identity, Massa could be in with a shot of picking up a first or a second here. Right now, everyone clean through these first section as we work our way up towards the second, as you say, using as much space as possible here just to gain all the speed that you can. And then we will get towards the identity. Everyone clean through it. 2/10 separating first and fourth. Scrapie at the back of the chasing pack here, but Pack and Kappa are fighting for that first place. Into the first corner. Pack with a little bit of a wobble. Massa getting through it cleanly as well. Kappa going straight onto the turbo there. Kappa will have the lead, but Massa's trying to catch up. Massa goes wide. Oh, he's chasing with Pack here, but Pack should have second. Kappa will take first. Pack gets second. Massa third, and Scrapie fourth.
And also a great time here by Kappa. 108.3 is that we talked about, the consistent pace. You need to get these runs in. And Kappa now, another 10-pointer here to his name to get up into second place more demandingly than he was previously. But we see this trend starting to happen now. We talked about Scrapie and Massa being the two inconsistent players, being the make or break players in this field that can't really match this rock-solid consistency we've seen from Kappa and Pack.
I mean, there's a reason that they're world champions, Virtual. They are so good at just eating the pressure for breakfast, right? They are so good at understanding exactly where they need to be mentally and exactly how much they need to push on every single lap. And once again, it is paying off dividends here for Kappa. A 10th up coming through this next checkpoint. He has been caught a little bit through the dirt section there, but Scrapie and Pack still a 10th behind overall. Massa 2/10 back in fourth place. Into the second part of the dirt, you can see Pack making a little bit of time, making a little bit of ground, but Kappa will have more speed coming through this dirt section, and as we get towards the identity, he is only going to keep that lead up around that 1/10 mark. Pack and Scrapie trying to chase him down, but not quite close enough. Massa still in a good position as well to attack as we get towards the stairs. Kappa with a good line there through the first, onto the second, a little bit of a wobble, but he's able to hold on to it. Goes wide on the third, and Scrapie on the line might be able to overtake him. Scrapie takes it. First for him, Kappa gets second, Massa third, Pack fourth.
And you can see how upset Kappa is there in the player picture. He knew he had that one. Yeah. He saw the checkpoint splits, makes it all the way to the last step, and that's where he gets overtaken by just 200ths of a second in the final round. Scrapie still alive in the match with that performance, and we will now go on to the next map here in just a second. The action is continuing, Medic.
I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, it's actually very close. There's like 20 points between first and fourth, which is a lot closer than we were in round one, and it does mean that we might get towards that multiple finalist position as we work our way through these maps. Next up, though, is Paradising map that Massa is actually very comfortable on. Currently holds the world record at a 107.85 here, Virtual.
He does, but right behind him is Scrapie with a 107.86, and then you have Pack with a 107.91, I believe, if I remember correctly here. So let's have a look at the track here. Through the drifts we go, and then we have the ice wall to finish it off. Again, really what we're waiting for to see how it will go.
So, looking at the leaderboards, these guys are the four best players in the world at this map.
Oh, that's incredible.
Massa is first, Kappa is second, Pack is third, Scrapie is fourth. And of course, some people do races offline, but this is going to be intense. This is going to be crazy to watch. We'll see who can get the pace, who can keep it going through these first few corners, who can make sure they have enough speed for this shortcut. Everyone within a hair's breadth of each other, as Scrapie has actually fallen off 2/10 behind early on here. Massa, Pack, and Kappa all fighting for that first spot, fighting for those 10 points through the dirt. Not too much between them as we work our way in towards this right-hander, Virtual.
Yeah, now we're coming into the dirt section on the map. Here it's very important to go all the way out wide and then build up speed. You can see them do this diagonal movement to reduce airtime, to use the space, and use the speed that they can get on this full speed straight. Now we're coming into the very precise freewheeling corner. Watch for the speed here. Kappa, not with the greatest line, will hit the wall. But Scrapie there with huge speed will actually catch up to Massa here, I believe, before they go into the identity. Pack though with a demanding lead, but what's going on? Pack hitting the wall, and it is Massa and Scrapie in the top 2 positions now. A huge opportunity to come back in the match for them. Who will get this 10-pointer? Massa with the lead, but can Scrapie beat him out here in the ice line? He's trying, but it's not enough. Massa takes it with a 108.91. Scrapie in second, Pack gets third, and Kappa gets fourth, but not what we were anticipating there.
No, but you can see how technically demanding the track is. Through the freewheeling, Kappa just goes a little bit too close. You can see his entry wasn't quite as wide as you'd like, so he couldn't get the angle on the second turn. And then Puck, just a little wide as well through the second freewheeling. Didn't want to lose the speed by drifting a little bit more, and so lost his line. And as we can see, even the computer we're running this on is surprised by that, opened up a fresh file as we jump on into the map once again. And Scrapie, he must be sliding that first corner or something, because you need to make sure you're not sliding on the grass so you have enough speed to get through the jump. And it seems like he just can't quite get that to work together right now. Massa, though, out to a lead in this race, a 1/10 of a second ahead as Pack and Kappa try and chase him down.
Yeah, and it's interesting with the start there because it's something that we sort of accept as trivial, but it really isn't. If you play these tracks yourself, you'll notice that first shortcut jump combination can take you 10 minutes to pass just once. And it's very hard to start off the map with such a brutal obstacle to pass. Now in the corner again, it is Massa with the wide line, having to adapt. Pack running away with it here, but Kappa trying to chase. He has a big gap that he needs to try to close, though, at the identity. And against one of the world's 4 best players here, it's going to be hard to get point 2, but Pack going too wide. And Kappa will actually hold this one. Pack landing back on the track to try to secure third, but that should be a Kappa 10-pointer. He will indeed take it, getting ever closer now to Pack in first on the overall standings. Massa takes a 6-pointer, and Scrapie will try to roll in here for 3 more points.
I mean, this has been a big map for Massa so far. First and a second. Pack getting 2/3 in a row. It's actually going to keep that scoreline just eking a bit closer. You can see only 18 points between first and third right now. Scrapie only 23 points behind, which isn't too monumental. By this point, you usually expect someone who is a clear-out favorite to have a 30-40 point buffer. Let's see if they can do it here. Scrapie this time able to keep his line, able to get through that first corner successfully, make sure he has enough speed, and we'll see all 4 races going into the dirt corner.
Yeah, and let's remember that this map was picked by Pack, so for only 2 third places. Now, though, in the leading half of this race, trying to fight for first with a great inside line on the tech turn there. You can either go wide here and land with more speed towards the dirt, or go for this inside approach. And you will see it even out just about, but Pack and Massa, with that inside line, gain perhaps a few hundredths of a second with that approach, and that is why they're in first and second as we now go into the freewheeling corner. And towards the ending, looks like 3 out of the 4 have survived, and we have a really close race.
Yeah, it looks like Massa fell off there. You can see just how many victims that corner claims every time. But last time we saw Pack go too high through this first part of the identity. Here he holds on to it. Scrapie with a tighter line has actually maintained great speed through there as well. And Scrapie has been very willing to send it down here right at the final corner. Kappa goes out, Pack takes first, Scrapie second, Massa third. And Kappa just slides out on the final corner, still manages to bring it home for a 4th place.
Yeah, and it's so important here. Like, Scrapie seems to be picking the wrong rounds to be fast in, because there's always someone just a little bit faster. This round, if he had this time 2 rounds ago, he would have won by half a second. So although they're all playing well, it's just the moments that matter. Pack now crossing 100 points overall, being just 36 points away from reaching finalist mode, and having 20 points gap down to the second player.
Yeah, Pack out to a strong lead here. We'll have a while in finalists, assuming he can keep this momentum going. Of course, up next we move on over to Bicycle, but we still have one more round here on Paradise to round things out. Bicycle, one of the easier identities to land consistently, and that's definitely something that benefits Pack. We've seen him struggle a tad on the more technical identities, but we see everyone struggle on the more technical identities, Virtual. That's kind of why they're there. Everyone, though, here clean through the first corners of this map into the freewheeling section, something that can be so tricky. Kappa with a very tight drift here, and once again, too tight on the entry means that he pays for it on the exit. Massa in first place. Pack and Scrapie trying to chase him down, but Scrapie about 2/10 behind. You can see Massa looking for his second win here on Paradise would be a big bolster. a big boost for him and for his points overall. If he can claim this, would actually send him all the way up into second place by himself. He clips, but he still makes it. Scrapie coming through for second as well. Kappa actually gets third, and Pack must have just fallen out at the end here. Takes home fourth.
Yeah, he can be very lucky that he had that buffer that you talked about, because that clip costs a lot of time. But Paradise was a great map for Massa here.
Yep.
Huge points gained. And he puts himself now in second place in the match, just ahead of Kappa and Scrapie. But now we're getting in to the meat of it, the real spice here on Bicycle. This is a map that is not so much about survival. We talk about it. It's about raw pace. It's about how much you dare to push. And if you talk about personal bests here, we can tell you that Kappa has the world record, Scrapie is in second.
1, 2, 3, 4 again, Virtual.
Massa is in third, and Pack is in fourth, all with times between 109.59 and 109.69. So they're within a tenth of a second on paper. And on rounds here, it could be even less than that.
It's just so close. I'm really looking forward to it. And as you say, it's a map where you can really push yourself. And that's what I love to see these guys doing, because you know who has made a name for going for those tight lines, for going for the risky plays?
It's Massa.
It's Massa, right? It's Massa and sometimes Scrapie as well. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing these two guys who are sitting a little bit lower in the standings, who are trying to chase Pack, push as much as they can here on Bicycle. Warm-up has ended, and we see the look of intensity on everyone's faces. Scrapie saying, let's go to himself, as he made a few mistakes early on Paradise that really cost him on that map here. And we want to eliminate those mistakes from his arsenal. Everyone threw the first jump cleanly, so we work our way up towards this left-hander.
Yeah, very important here as we now drop into the dirt to line yourself up in between the trees. This jump, again, it looks trivial, but the setup is so important. Trackmania is a lot about how you set yourself up for the turns, not just how you do the turn. So here, once again, they're going to land and try to go very low so they can get a good approach into this drift. Go wide into the dirt so they can get a good approach into this turn. It's all a cycle. It's all continuous. You set yourself up constantly for the next part. And now we're going into the most incredible part.
Yeah, and there's a line here as well that you talked to me about the other day, which is you want to make as much space on the road before the jump as possible to get as much speed. Scrapie loves that line. You can see he's caught up just a little bit here. Currently sitting in fourth place, and it's a quite large margin when we come into this identity. Usually, 2/10 is a big enough lead that no one can catch you. You can see Scrapie trying to go a bit deeper on the identity there, but at the front, Kappa and Massa and Pack are all fighting for that first place. Massa not quite as deep on Bicycle there. Kappa has more speed though. He will take first, Massa second, Pack third, and Scrapie comes home in fourth.
And we talked about that it was going to be close, but it was not believed to be this close. 1/100th of a second difference between first and second place there. Kappa getting 10 very important points, because we are in the end game now. We are in the tail end of the match, and whoever can get just one free attempt at finalist first could have a big advantage to go into grand finals and face off versus Carl Jr. and Uffy later on tonight. These are the decisive rounds now. These are the important rounds to make it or break it. Here we go into the second round on Bicycle between the world 4 best players on this map. All the tiny details here add up and give you a lead in the race if you can do them well. Very important to get a good approach here, as we talked about. It builds so much speed towards the dirt. Kappa clipping, but he actually stays alive with that, and he gets so good speed into it, despite the little clip there. Now, let's look for the road jump. We mentioned this left setup. How far left do you set it up? See Scrapie going a bit more left. He will land a tiny bit earlier here with a little bit more speed than Pack as he drops down onto here. And with that tiny detail, he's in first place. He's chasing 10 points. He is in last place in the match. This is so important for Scrapie to hold this all the way. But Massa and Pack setting up on the other side of the track will catch up to him. They're all even as we go into the last turnaround. Massa with the bonk is out of it, but it's Pack versus Scrapie with Kappa maybe having a say.
Scrapie has more speed.
Oh, it's not enough. But look at the times, Medic. We have all players on 109.8.
That's actually just absurd. And you can see, you said it on the last track, Scrapie keeps pulling these great times out of the bottom of the barrel, but Pack or Kappa or Massa is just always slightly quicker than him. And because of that, Scrapie still sits in last place. Pack now 2 wins away from finalist mode. Kappa 4, Massa 4 in a little bit. And Scrapie needs 5 wins all round to get himself into finalists. That battle for second place is going to be very close. The question is, can these other 3 keep Pack away from another world final? Because if they can keep him 3rd or 4th place, everyone will start catching him when we get towards the real intense portion where we have 3 or 4 finalists in a race. Third round here on Bicycle. Massa just slightly behind as we work our way in towards this drift onto the dirt section, as you say, get as much space on the left to use this left-hand side and get the extra speed into the ice. Over the ice we go, and then onto the dirt jump. Scrapie with a little wider line there is going to lose a little bit of time, but he will have more speed, but that is face first into a tree for Scrapie. He's out. Now the battle commences between Pack, Kappa, and Massa as we work our way towards the identity. Less than 200ths between them through the first corner. Massa will have just a little bit more speed than Pack here as he tries to chase him down. Kappa trying to chase in as well. Pack just slightly ahead, and I think Pack's going to be able to hold on to that. He's being chased down, but he can't quite get caught. Pack first, Kappa second, Massa third, and Scrapie will try and bring it home in fourth.
And Pack is just always staying on the right side of that cutoff, you know, always having the hundredths in his favor. Getting these 10-pointers instead of 6-pointers is how he's able to build up this lead. 131 points now. He might hit finalists this round or the next one, but he's going to have plenty of uncontested finalist attempts. No one is close.
That's the big thing, right? Unless Pack gets 3/4 in a row, no one is going to be within touching distance of him. We'll see if Pack can keep it consistent, if he can keep it clean, which is what he's been doing so well across the course of this semi-final. Remember, Afi and Carl Jr. are waiting. They are waiting with bated breath to see who will join them in the finals later today. Currently, it looks like Pack is the man of the moment, the man of the hour, who will be matching up with the Swiss and the Canadian player in that final, but perhaps Kappa or Massa or Scrapie can stand in his way. It's a tough task, it's a tall order, but one of these four guys could be able to do it. Pack goes very wide and he's lost a lot of speed here. Scrapie should be able to chase him down. Kappa and Massa fighting for first.
Yeah, this is an important battle here. This is the battle to stay alive in the tournament between the two players in second and third right now. Massa having a car length lead, but we know this identity to be so close, and on flat ice, keyboard is better. Kappa might get a bit closer here to Massa. We know he likes to go for an inside approach in the last one, goes very wide for the speed. Kappa with the inside line, will it be enough to hold to the finish line? Kappa takes the 10-pointer here in the final round on Bicycle to put himself even further ahead in second place in the match.
Yeah, and a big win as well for Pack. Even though he got knocked down, he was still able to claim third place, which means he is now either a second or a first away from getting himself into finalist mode. Makes it a lot easier for him when we get on towards our final map of the rotation. Semiramis is where we're going. Of course, the identity is something a lot of people will focus on here, but there's a few more technical aspects, like keeping a gear through those corners can be very tricky.
And Massa, Medic, I've had a look at the leaderboards. You want to know something interesting?
Tell me, Virtual.
So in first place on the leaderboards, we have Massa. In second, we have Scrapie. In third, we have Kappa. And in fourth, we have Pack. They are the fastest four players on paper. Once again, into this match and onto this map. It's going to be intense once again. The world record, a 1:10.13 by Massa. Scrapie in second, 1:10.16. Kappa in third, 1:10.16.6. And Pack in fourth, 1:10.17. It's so close. It's 400ths of a second between all of their personal bests. And this track is one of the most intense to play. We are probably not going to see times close to that, but 1:10, if you can get that in a live round, it's usually good enough to win a round.
Oh, definitely. Like, if you can get anywhere near that, you are in a very strong position. 1:10 is just so fast across this as we jump on in to the first round of Semiramis. Here you want to make sure you're angling your car down, because using the dirt to corner into this grass section. Now through here, you'll see a little bit of a wiggle, trying to get as much speed as you can in towards this right hand and then the left hand. And then this corner here is a lot more tricky than it appears to be, Virtual. Lots of people here will not quite land the jump, will lose a lot of speed, and then now round this, you want to keep as much speed as possible. Everyone does it successfully there, but that drift and that corner can be so tricky. Everyone within 2/10 of each other as we work our way towards the short dirt section before the identities.
Yeah, and Scrapie had a beautiful line there. He went wide for more speed in the drift. It's something that we haven't really seen too much of before, but with that, he's now contesting for a first, and this is a first place that Scrapie really needs as we get towards the identity. Here you want to jump as low as possible, land as early as possible. Massa is out of it, but it is a battle between Pack and Scrapie for the 10-pointer. Can Scrapie finally break through and get a 10 against Pack? Pack with a wider line in the grass, more speed towards the finish. This could be close. The bump will decide it, but Scrapie holds by 600ths of a second. It's a 1:10.5 Medic. They are going within 4/10 of the world record on one of the most technically difficult tracks. This is going fast, but finally for Scrapie, he gets a 10-pointer.
Yeah, big win for Scrapie. Importantly, though, Pack will be through to finalists, so he's going to have a few rounds of leeway where he can look for that world's final spot. Kappa sitting at 121, still needs a couple of wins. Massa down at 113, Scrapie 108 as well. We'll follow Pack through this as he looks to claim his spot alongside Carl Jr. and Afi.
Yeah, this is now gone from being a general exam to like, this is the show. You have to deliver now. You cannot falter because before you know it, the others could catch up to you and maybe even overtake you. We saw that almost happen to Afi earlier. You get about 3 or 4 maybe uncontested attempts, and then they're right by your side. So Pack trying to make use of his first finals attempt. We're going into the tricky drift here. He sets it up to the left, pushes to the right. One car goes flying. That is Scrapie. His main contender is out of the fight here. Pack has a huge opportunity. Yes, Kappa fails as well, and now Massa is the only player able to deny Pack his grand final spot in the World Championship, the 2016 World Champion. Can he hold on here in the identity? Massa is chasing. Massa looks fierce and fire on the jumps here. He tries to go lower, tries to land earlier than Pack, but it's not enough. Pack holds strong. Last jump, he goes too wide. He goes too wide. Massa will claim that 10-pointer, but Pack, one jump before the finish line, he collapses and he will have to try again in the next round.
What an end there. Pack had it. All he had to do was just hold that jump a little bit narrower and he would have made it, but couldn't quite finish it off. Massa getting 10 points, Kappa with 6. Scrapie coming home in last place with 3, but that does get him over that 110-point mark. Kappa, a win and a finish away from being a finalist. And now let's see if Pack can hold it together, can hold those nerves, can hold the intensity, can hold the consistency for this perhaps final round of this World Cup semi-final for him.
Look at how intense Pack's look here is. It almost looks like a picture, the way he's focusing, sitting almost motionless. It could be a picture that maybe have a frozen webcam. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but Pack, the gameplay is intense. He's showing how good he is. He's trying to get off to this early lead so he can save the identity jumps. Perhaps has to push this corner. There is no hesitation there. If you hesitate any moment, you are out of it. And once again, Pack versus Massa for this lead. The others are right behind there. Nobody has made a mistake so far. So it will be very, very close as we now go into the identity. Pack on the chase for the World Cup final spot.
Yeah, it really looks like it's going to be between Massa and Pack here. Kappa is about a 10th behind them both right now, but we have seen how much speed Pack is able to hold through this identity. Going for that lower jump, both of them make it. Massa and Pack through the first jump, through the second as they look for the third here. Last time, Pack went too wide here. This time, he does not make the same mistake twice. But Massa with an incredible low jump. However, Pack will have more speed, and all he has to do is hold on to this line. Pack's through. He will claim his spot alongside Carl Jr. and Afi in the world's final.
And it didn't come easy. Pack had to push out a 1:10.57, only 4 tenths behind his personal best to secure that spot, but he does it in the round when it matters, and he will make it through. Pack, the 2016 World Champion, has another shot at the trophy.
Yeah, big win there for Pack, and importantly, for Kappa, Massa is sitting at 129 points here. So if Kappa is able to pick up a win, even if Massa picks up a win himself, he will not be in finalists. Scrapie still behind by quite a bit here. 15 points behind Massa, 17 points behind Kappa.
But let's not forget in the qualifiers, because Scrapie has been in this situation before. Scrapie almost didn't make it into the top 16 in the tournament. He was down 30 points in a match versus a Polish player called Mime, and he made a miraculous comeback in that match when all Mime had to do was win 1 round in finalist mode. Scrapie clutched that out, and he could do the same here if he puts on his best pace, his world record pace. Scrapie's almost unstoppable. And once again, with this line in the mid part that he did, he has to lead here. He could do it, could make it happen.
Yeah, he's a 10th ahead of Massa right now. The question is, can he hold it through the identities? Massa has been relatively clean through those. We've seen Scrapie make a couple of mistakes so far. Kappa basically out of this one. We'll still have one more track before he can get towards a finalist. Scrapie with a slightly lower jump that isn't going to be able to keep the speed up. Massa is actually maintaining so much more through this and through the final jump as well. Massa actually overtaken to the line here by Scrapie. Kappa trying to chase them down as well, and Massa doesn't get the bounce. Scrapie with an inside line, a 1:10.57. Massa comes in second. Kappa comes home in third.
Let's take stock of the situation now. We have Scrapie at 124 points, and then we have Kappa and Massa both at 135.
Yep.
Meaning, in a theoretical scenario, if one of them wins and the other gets second, we have a double final situation for that last grand final spot. It could be so close now.
It really could, and of course, Scrapie can be in a weird position where he wants to win, but he's also going to put someone else into finalists by winning without someone contesting them. So obviously Scrapie wants the 10 points, but it will give someone a free shot if Scrapie gets first as we work our way back onto the Zigzag. Last time, this was a bit of a mixed bag for all these three guys. Kappa, the only one of the three who didn't pick up a first place. Scrapie getting one first, Massa getting one as well.
We saw a lot of crashes, but we saw incredible pace. I mean, 1:17.5 being driven here is absurd. It's very close to what the world record was 1 week ago. So it's going to be an incredible battle here between all the players. I think nobody's holding back because they know that they need to win, and the only way to win in these races is by driving close to the world record pace.
You really have to be on the line. As you said, a 1:17.15 is the world record here as we get on in to the first round on the Zigzag. No finalists yet of these three. Pack already made his way through to the World's Finals, and here Massa has a slight lead, but everyone within touching distance of each other as we work our way on towards the dirt. After the dirt, of course, we will go towards that right-hander, as you say. Scrapie probably out here, of course. We have seen Massa and Kappa make mistakes through the ice. Both of them are clean, though. Massa looking for a bit of a tighter line on towards the freewheeling. Makes it through safely. Kappa going for the wider line here. Not what he was doing in the group stage, but still a good way to maintain speed. Now into the loop. Scrapie a 1.5 seconds behind. He is basically out, as you say, and it's probably going to be a two-finalist situation here, Virtual.
Yeah, two finalists are on the cards. It does not really matter who wins this round. All they have to do is save their position, get to the finish line, and get the points. 10 and 6 points will be enough to hit 140, and then whoever wins that one round will take the last grand final spot. Kappa, the defending world champion, will go into a sudden death match here with Massa, the German player. We haven't had a German world champion in this game. Could this be the year where we get the first one? Final jump onto Zigzag. They both have the speed, and Medic, the prediction came true. Double finalist here in the second semifinal.
I'm so psyched for it. Kappa, as you say, trying to claim his crown once again. Scrapie there falling out early means that he is only sitting on 128 points and needs 2 finishes to catch up. Scrapie would have to go 3 firsts in a row.
It's the only way he can make it.
It's the only way. If anyone else gets first, they are through to the finals. Once more into the breach here for Kappa and Massa, and we'll see which one of them is going to have another shot at the cherry later on in that finals. Carl Jr., Pack, and Afi await the winner of this race, of this perhaps round. The second time we've been to the Zigzag, and Kappa is looking to make it count. However, everyone within touching distance of each other through the ice. You can see Massa trying to get a little bit more speed through it as we get towards that jump to the left. Massa with a very tight line is able to maintain it as we jump up once again. Now towards that bobsleigh, so you can get a bit of better drift here. The speed not too paramount. Of course, you do get the the reactor boost coming out of this. Kappa will take the lead. Scrapie's falling 2/10 behind. It's between Kappa and Massa now to see who's going to get that spot in the World Finals. Scrapie's fighting tooth and nail, trying to get back, trying to claw something back out of this because he knows if he doesn't get first, he's done. But Kappa and Massa are not giving him an inch, are not giving him a centimeter to catch back up. Kappa and Massa through the first jump of the identity. Massa with the lead. Kappa trying to chase him down, but he can't quite get the speed, and Massa now is caught by Kappa over that final jump, basically overlaid on each other as we get towards the drift. It's all going to come down to the final corner here, Virtual. Kappa and Massa neck and neck, breathing down each other's neck. Kappa with the inside line, Massa with more speed, but Kappa will take it and book himself a spot in the finals.
Insane from Kappa, the defending world champion, to clutch it out in the last round. 1:17.36. It's almost his personal best. Kappa in the decisive round drives on par with his all-time best time, and he will make it to the grand final. We have Carl Jr. versus Afi versus Pack versus Kappa. 3 world champions in the game's history, and Afi, the new player in the field.
Afi, imagine being him in this situation. It's like, hey guys, yeah, everyone else, you've done world champions? Oh, you're world champions. Okay. It's just like your first time you've ever played in a World Cup, and you are fighting against 3 of the most decorated players in the history of the game.
And the craziest thing is, he was showing he can keep up with me.
Yeah.
He was showing he can go toe-to-toe with Carl Jr. He can take 10-pointers in that situation. But, you know, he might let the expectations get to him because everyone is looking at these previous world champions, but he could certainly be the next one as well. This is going to be a crazy grand final, but we do first have an interview with the winner of the match. Pack, can you hear us? Hello, Pack. Congratulations on the win. How is that, and how are you feeling?
Oh, I feel good, man. That was intense. I was worried that I was gonna fall out of focus for a bit there, but yeah, I finally got the win in the end.
I'm going to say, Pac, apologies, we didn't actually hear your first answer. So we're going to say
Oh,
you feel very emotionally drained, something along those
I feel
lines.
emotionally drained, yeah, and I feel pretty good, guys. Yeah, it was a tough one.
It really was. Like that was a very intense final. How do you? So, what are your expectations coming into the finals now? Actually, like you've won your semi-final, but you don't actually have a very long break before you have to face off, against Carl Jr. and Afi again.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm warmed up now. I'm ready. But yeah, it's going to be a tough final against Carl and Afi. I mean, they were really good. So yeah, just need to get going again.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck in the finals.
Obviously.
We will be watching and enjoying it from the side. I hope you have a great match. Now we are going to talk quickly to Kappa, the second advancing player into the grand finals, and more importantly, the defending world champion.
Yeah.
Kappa, can you hear us? How are you doing? How was that? What an intense final round to secure the spot.
Hello, I can confirm that I can hear you. It was indeed a crazy semi-final, but I didn't expect anything less, than that. And that final round against Massa, we both handled it so well. His time was 0.4, mine was 0.3. That is just crazy. He was good. I'm lucky to be there.
And how do you feel going into the final now, knowing that that intensity you just had is only going to be elevated, only going to be magnified because you're against Carl Jr. and Afi, who had an equally intense semi-final earlier on?
To be honest, my ultimate goal right now is already success. And now anything I can get better than fourth place is good. But I'll just try to play my best and see what it's gonna bring me. But if I get third or fourth, it's already good. Grand final is always the goal you wanna have,
Yeah, that was an amazing showing. We wish you the best of luck in the grand finals to try to defend the title. Kappa, we will see you on the flip side and maybe with another trophy. Best of luck, and yeah, we're going to get into it very shortly.